Okay, so we have a lot of chicks out of nest. This is Niger and his 3 little double factor spangled chicks. Aren't they pretty? I love my double factor spangles. I'm going to start a line of them. This is Indy and his 3 little mauve with multiple mutations. Only one of them is mauve. No, 2 of them are mauve and one of them is violet or some such thing. It's hard to tell because it's kind of dark in there. But I think the little guy burying his head back there is a mauve. The one next to him is a violet. And this guy down here is a violet. So, I think I ended up with 3 violets and 3 mauves in here. And this is Henry and his 4 that all came out to be mauves. Where is he? I'm too close. There we go. There's Henry, one of his babies. These guys will be the first to go out. Their date, their 6-week date is 5/21, which is a Friday. So that's a week from tomorrow. These little guys just went out today. Daddy's a little crazy. He's like, what did you do? You took my perch, you took my hen, you took my nest box. Now all I have is these screaming babies. And I'm like, that's kind of the point. But, as you see, they're all fat and sassy and fed up, and all is good. Then down here is Nile. And that's his little white-based gray wing turns out to be a violet. I'm getting lots of surprise violets this time. So, but they all look good. They've been a couple of days out now. These guys are going to be out Thursday. Oh, these are the first ones out. So a week from today, they're going to go out to the flight cage. This is Malachite and his 2 little ones that are looking fabulous. They look so mature and so big, but they're just not ready yet. If you wait till the oldest chick is 6 weeks old, then that pretty much guarantees that everybody in the nest will be able to pick up flight in about 24 hours once you put them out. This is Peridot and his baby. Why does this baby look like a gray-green? You can't be a gray-green. Your parents are both green. But he's very dark. Maybe he's just green with a violet factor or something. Okay, everybody's gonna go hide. This is Amazon and his little booze over here. Running around. Hi, Butterfly. How you doing? I'm not speaking to you. And there's 2 older chicks there. This one is actually looks promising, you know. He's got a long mask and stuff. I'm kind of surprised because Amazon and his mom are not great birds. And this is Congo and Rain, and I finally got her to stop plucking these babies. Get out of that nest box. By treating her with Amtil for days. Usually they stop right away, but she wasn't having it. Come on, Missy, out. So she finally stopped plucking them, but they are all downless, but growing in their feathers normally. But I will keep watching because she may start up again when I take her off the medication. This is Dacite and Baby, and their 3 little ones are also still pretty young. However, I see Baby's first chick actually hatched out. It's over here. Hatched out 4 days or 5 days before any of these guys did. So she may flip sooner than the chicks in her nest indicate. So we got to keep an eye on her. So this is her and Dacite's other baby. Again, a Spangled Opaline yellow face. And this is Nile and Flo's baby, who is a gray wing, green. And this is the other baby, whom might be really hard to tell who he is, because he might be coming out the one color combination that makes it impossible to tell. But all we can do is wait and see. But they are looking good. And then we have, that's Dad up there. This is Shu. And all of his little lookalikes. They look like him, however, they are violets, and he is a cobalt. So But they're beautiful, and I hope they're going to have some feather on their heads, unlike their father. And this is, so Bear Grylls turned on his baby girl, started trying to treat her like a mate. And although they'll feed them, they keep right on feeding them and feeding them, they start beating them up because they want to breed them, and the baby doesn't know how to respond. So I saw him pecking at her and chasing her around the cage, so I pulled her and put her down here. So she's down here now, and she's a little paranoid because she's been beat up a lot, but I think she'll adjust just fine. She's actually, oh, that's her right there. That's the father, Danube over there, and she's up here. So apparently she's decided he's not going to beat her up, so she's okay. She's a little bit older than those two chicks. They just got put out. So Danube's kind of new to all this. And this is Scarn, and he has his two chicks in here, and Bear Grylls' older chick, who I put in here a couple days ago. The older chick is that yellow face right there, who is thriving in here. I put him in here a couple of days ago because when a cock picks a baby girl and starts thinking she's a mate, he will then stop feeding many of his other chicks because he wants them to go away. He's in breeding mode. He's not in daddy mode. So I could tell this one wasn't getting anything to eat, so I put it up here, and Scarn has done a great job at taking care of it. So one of the things that you want to do when you foster older chicks among cocks is make sure that the chick looks somewhat like the father's chicks. So like he has two blue chicks, one's a yellow face. I put a blue yellow face chick in here. He's not really going to make any distinction between this yellow face chick and the one that he owns. But if I put like a double factor Spangle chick in here that looked radically different from his own chicks, he might decide to reject it. So I would, on the other hand, with these guys being mostly white, if I had a double factor Spangle chick to put in there, it would look pretty similar to his because they're mostly white. So they're not, the cocks are not nearly as discerning as the hens are at this stage, and will feed pretty much any baby that screams at them. So they're doing fine. So that's what's going on with the babies. I've got about another week of doing maintenance, heavy maintenance in here, before I start putting them out and filling up the flight cage with them. This is Zoo and his baby girl. Look at her. She says, I can fly. She just pretending. And there are two little ones down there. I pulled their mom because she climbed into the nest, laid an egg, and picked the feathers off the top of the youngest baby's head. So I said, you're done. So Zoo's in here doing daddy duty. Just like a parakeet. Pretty bird. Oh, you've decided you're speaking to me, huh? See, I took his nest box away. And now he's starting to remember that we're friends. Kiss, kiss, pretty bird. Yep. There's Mama. I yanked her tail off when I was pulling her. I almost lost her. So she's tailless. Poor baby. So, I've been busy out here. This is a flight cage that I'm going to be using for my other birds, and I have some more coming. It'll be a big surprise. So, I've been asking around about my Rosie Borks and how they didn't do anything. And somebody said, well, are you sure you have a male and a female? And I said, well, they were sold to me as a bonded pair. And they just looked at me like, so are you sure you have a male and a female? And then I went, oh, duh. Maybe the person that sold them to me either didn't have a clue or didn't care and told me whatever I wanted to hear. Something that happens all too often in the bird hobby. So I'm going to have to DNA test them and see what I've got. But one of the things I've heard and noticed is that female Borks are slightly smaller than male Borks. And I have a new friend up here that has probably a half a dozen pair of Rosie Borks. And I kept looking at him going, those birds are bigger than mine. They're bigger. And it finally dawned on me that I was looking at the males. So these two are pretty much exactly the same size. So I'm going to have to do a little further research. There may be a really obvious reason why they never did anything when I set them up. So these are all my birds in waiting. They are hanging out, waiting for everybody to clear out of the breeding cages. These in here are pairs that failed and will get put up one more time, last chance. And if you remember, this side of the cage over here was a large open flight. And I decided to go ahead and divide it like the other one. So this is now 3 by 7 feet. This and another one that's 3 by 7 over there. This is just like the opposite side. And here's the reason that I did it. I could put as many as 60 birds in here when it was a wide open flight. But it was too many birds for them to develop a community. There was always kind of a low-level chaos going on. And there was not the peace and harmony and playfulness. The bonded pairs weren't able to stay on top of the footloose and fancy-free singletons. And it just wasn't working. It was too many birds. So when I divide it up like this, I can put 30 in each cage. And this, just for an idea of how many birds 30 is 30 birds. So there's lots of perch space. There's flight space. They have another. I lowered the perch rack and made sure that it was set behind. Each one of these cages has a 2-foot solid wall before it goes to wire, and I set the perches behind the solid wall so that there's a visual barrier between the birds in this cage and the birds in the flights on either side, and they can sit back there and have a visual of who belongs in their group and who doesn't. So they're eating. I gave them some the spillings out of the bottom of the okay, having a brain fade. The spray millet thing, and they're gobbling it up. And I can't put perches right here because the door opens here, so I put them right there, and it allows them to have a place to go up high and a place to land if they want to fly all the way across. So that is a not overly crowded cage at 30. So a huge part of overcrowding is the perch space issue. They have to have enough perch space for each bird to have about 6 inches of perch and some extra beyond that. So this cage right here is 3 by 5 feet. So the perch rack has 1 fewer perches on it, and they have this one up here. It's obviously not as much flight room, but there's also only 20 birds in here. So, and they're comfortable. There's plenty of perch space. If somebody doesn't want to sit next to somebody, they can move easily. They get to choose who their buddies are. It's all good. So that is what I will do as I bring out daddies and babies, is I will put the first, I think there's 14 of them. So I'll put the first 7 daddies with babies in here. These are all the hens that have been pulled. They are over here cranky and unhappy, and I was going to reset and lay a whole nother nest, and you stole my next box, you horrible human being. So they're all over here, and when I pull their males and put them over here, I'll bring the hen that belongs with the family and put her over here too. And when I have 7 families over here, then I'll fill this cage with the last 7. So yeah, and in the meantime, they're just relaxing and getting over their little bad selves. Okay, so that's what's going on out here.